goodness, it's Friday. We're getting some pretty heavy gusts out here. As you can see, there's a little bit of clouds, so that's kind of part of where the gusts come from. But as you can see, I kind of wanted to go outside. This is pretty much the best I can do at the moment. The nice thing is that the wind is kind of like its own air conditioning. So wherever else you may be, it is, if it's like 100 degrees, with that, with 20, 30 mile an hour winds, it's kind of like having your own personal AC. It'll drop it by about 10 to 15 degrees, especially if you get your airflow right. Oh man, that really, really works. But anyways, I want to say hi to all of y'all that are showing up. If you want to be a part of tonight's broadcast, I just want to give a quick heads up. At 8 o'clock, instead of doing it over here on YouTube, we're doing it over on my website, hobotuck.com. So as soon as you go there, there's a button that says it'll take you to the live feed. It starts at 8 Eastern. If you would like to, hey, what's up, Matthew? Nice to see you, man. It's something that is that is going to be done and all this other stuff. So if you want to be over there and you're not a Patreon member, then you're going to want to be over there on the live feed. Now, I am going to put a little chat thing in there, and I'm going to have to keep an eye on the chat. Um, okay, hobotuck.com live tonight, 8 Eastern. Yes. And that's the thing. Sorry, my brain is kind of like went kaput. Um, I've been having this is my second of 3 broadcasts today. So this is not my this isn't my first broadcast. I'm not nice and fresh. I actually had to take a nap after the last one, and I'll probably end up taking a little bit of a nap after this one. But anyways, if you want to be there for my old man and I and have our conversation. Now he says he may be a little bit late tonight, but there's a possibility he's got some graduations to go to. Those of you that are grandparents, you probably know what I'm talking about. He's going to it for nieces and nephews, and so he may be running a little bit late to tonight. But what we're going to be talking about is the famous quote: "You'll own nothing and be happy." I really want to take a moment because now I have the ability to do it off platform, uncensored, and really give my raw thoughts on this. Is that this is a multifaceted system. Most people, they heard it and they went, yeah, right, that'll never happen. We'll fight back, all that other stuff. Well, that's not really the way it turned out. Because if you want to look at the end result is what's going on the dark side of the moon, with China trying to build a base there and harvesting minerals there and stuff like that they can bring back for technology and stuff like that. That's what they're going to do. Okay, that's what China is working on the backside of the moon. But that, my old man thinks that, oh, it's just for technology and resources, and I'm like, no. This is the beginning of us going out into the rest of the universe and starting to seed other planets, just like this planet was seeded. Okay, and my niece graduated preschool today. Oh, well, congratulations there, Matthew. um it just this is the end of a space race, or excuse me, this is what this space race is about. Elon Musk kind of started it when he said, hey, I want to be able to take us to Mars. Well, in order to get to Mars, you got to have a moon base, and then you got to be able to launch from there. Not only because it's going to reduce the cost of fuel and gravity and all this other stuff, but you got a lot of different things that will keep people interested in this, and will want to make it go along. So this is part of us becoming interstellar. Okay. It's just the way it's going to be. But the thing is, in order to be able to make us go interstellar, there has to be something done here on a global level. What is that? Well, we have to be under a single world government. And a lot of people sit there and go, oh, yeah, right. I don't believe that. I don't think that's going to happen. That's not possible. Not in my lifetime. Well, if you look at the way the artificial intelligence is being used and being adopted by governments across the world, and eventually it will mold into one. So within 5 to 10 years, we could very easily see a one world government. But that's what's necessary in order for us to be able to go interstellar, because you can't just represent one small piece of land uh, to another globe and just like it doesn't work that way. It's just like just like the several states had to come together under a union. They came together under a union because they what's the is because they needed to be represented as a whole unit, which was had more strength in numbers to the rest of the world. So therefore, that's kind of how we set up our government, and that's kind of the way that things get set up, is that you need a single representative that represents the people as a whole. So eventually we will have to go into some single governance, but then that's where AI comes in. Okay, because AI is being adopted in places like Abu Dhabi. China is openly implementing it. The United States is secretly implementing it through Doge. That's part of what Elon Musk did, as his whole Doge thing. Is that was part of how he was saving money, was by bringing artificial intelligence into the government so that it could manage the government. Okay, but that's only half of the puzzle, because if you want to make sure that this goes off without a hitch, you have to control the narrative. And there we go with, censorship. These are things that I'm going to be talking about with my old man tonight. What's up, Juju? These are going to be the things that me and my old man are going to be talking about tonight, more in depth, and we're going to be able to say the things that we want uncensored. See, they keep saying that you should own your own, or they're going to start saying own your own platform, just like they told you to learn how to code. Well, now that I'm owning my own platform, I'm the one that's responsible for what it is that I say. And so therefore it gives me a lot more autonomy, a lot more freedom. I am in somebody else's no, I don't just give away mod. It doesn't work like that here, man. Good luck though. Um, and if you really want to be a mod, Juju, you have to be. What's up, DFH? You have to be a regular like Matthew and like DFH and some other people around here. And then if once I see you, then I tap you on the shoulder and ask you if you want to do it. At least I try to do it that way. Sometimes it doesn't work. What's up, DFH? Nice to see you. But that's what my old man and I are going to be talking about at 8 Eastern tonight. So tune in at hobotuck.com. If you do not have a Patreon membership, you can listen and chat for free on the hobotuck.com. And if you're in Patreon, whether you have a free membership or a paid membership, Friday nights with my old man is always open to everybody that's a member over there. So you can come get in the green room a half hour early, and so on and so forth. But for those of you that have been following along and stuff like that with this week's episodes, it looks like a lot of you guys really really liked the content there, because it was kind of a realistic wake up call. I wasn't trying to take away your drive to own your own land. What I was trying to do is at least give you a realistic point of view of how to be able to not not how to, but more like what you should expect. Prepare for failure, understand that you're not going to be perfect, understand that you've got to build a community, understand that you've got to follow ordinances and regulations, and that these things are going to be very very important. This is what we talked about as far as buying land. If you want to become a homesteader and start with a blank slate of land, and so on and so forth. But you guys know that Stephanie actually sponsored this week's videos. And so I want to throw a special shout out and a thanks to Stephanie at Open Air Properties for sponsoring this week's videos, because she's the one that made it possible. And this was a message that she wanted to be able to share with you guys as well. It was something that we both came up with. No, she's not my wife. I'm buying my property from her, actually, Alexandria. Um, I actually, this piece of land that you see right out here, this is a piece of land that I bought from her. I've actually been on this land for about 9 months now. She's been a sponsor for maybe 6 weeks. So it took a while before, she became a sponsor, but I believed in what it is that she was doing so much, that, I just wanted to shout it at the top of the rooftops. And she decided that she wanted to sponsor this my content, because not only does she believe in the message, but she's a big part of the community. Okay, she's not just a typical sponsor that just pays you and walks away and expects certain results. No, she participates. She watches all the videos. She participates behind the scenes and all kinds of other things that go on. She's a very integral part of my success here on my land. So she's more than just a sponsor. She's family. And she wanted me to pass on an important message to you guys, because if you've never bought land before, It's totally normal to feel a little unsure about how it works. Many buyers are first time landowners like myself, regular folks who just want a little space to call their own. Or you may already own property like a home, but not undeveloped land, and you decide you want to build your own land. Um, so let's break it down. This is what she offers. She offers owner financing with no interest. Okay, you're not going to find this anywhere else. No interest. Let me give you a little bit of a history lesson on why no interest is so important. Those of you that have been here for a while know that I've talked about the collapse of 1342 and led to the Hundred Years' War, the bubonic plague, and something else. I always forget it, but it took us from the Renaissance era into the Dark Ages. Okay, that was part of what led us into the Dark Ages. On top of the Vikings invading Europe through their river system, and there was a fight going on between the Venetian black nobility and uh, the Catholic Bank. Okay, because up until that time, usury was considered a sin. Okay. What is usury? Usury is compound interest. It's what you pay when you go and you take out a loan from the bank. You're paying compound interest. That is usury. That is a sin within the Bible if you actually follow that stuff. Okay, so what the banks used to do before usury became a normal thing is that they would charge you nominal fees as part of carrying the loan. So you would pay it back plus a fee. So here's how it works with owner financing, no interest through Stephanie at Open Air Properties. This means you don't need a bank, a credit check, or thousands of dollars up front. You just pay a small deposit, usually $349, and then affordable monthly payments, often between $100 and $300 a month. The best part is she's not going to charge you interest. She charges you a $10 a month payment processing fee and a couple of dollars of property taxes for every dollar. So that means that every dollar that you pay goes towards your principal and towards owning your actual land. You're not going to get that from a bank. There's not a bank in the world right now that would give you interest-free payments. Even if she makes a couple of dollars on that processing fee, or she marks up the property a few dollars, uh, the most important thing is that you're not paying interest. The reason why interest is so detrimental, and you should read Judah Shapiro's article called "The Jewish Shitar." It was written in the late '80s, and it talks about uh how basically the mortgage contract is a death contract is what it is. And um essentially, if you buy $100,000 house, even at a good interest rate, by the time you end up paying that house off, you've paid for it three times over. You've paid $300,000. So if you're paying $8,000 for a piece of land here, um that's a damn good deal, because land here is starting to go to ten to $15,000 per acre. And right now she's selling them at about 8,000 per acre without without interest, which means you're not paying $24,000 after interest. You're just paying the $8,000, which includes her fees and markups. So therefore you've got one flat price. If you don't see the benefit in that, go and look at what your total of payments is on your mortgage and then come back to me. Okay. Also, your contracts protect you. We use a written agreement that clearly lays out the deal. She also gives you like a little what do you call it, like an overview or a synopsis or something, like I forget what the technical word is, but she gives you an overview of what the contract is about, and then you can read through it and it says the same exact thing that she tells you, but she gives it to you in layman's terms. Okay. Do I farm something? No, not yet. Okay. If life changes and you can't keep making payments, you can walk away at any time. But honestly, the amount of payments that's the amount for the monthly payments is so good. You'd be a fool to walk away, because if you ever try and come back and make a second attempt at it, it's going to cost you so much more. We understand, she understands that life happens, and she's designed her agreements to be flexible and fair. And that's something I can definitely vouch for, because what she's done, I mean, yeah, she's very fair in everything that she does. She's not a money motivated person like most investors are. She's more about making sure that she can make a difference in somebody's lives. So when you finish paying, she transfers the deed to you. Once you've made your final payment, the property is yours. She prepares the deed and records it with the county in your name. That means the county will officially recognize you as the landowner. It's simple, it's clean, and it's fully legal. As far as utilities, some things that you need to know: some of the properties have water and power lines nearby. Others are off grid, meaning you'd use solar, haul water, or even just camp out occasionally. We always tell you up front what's available so you can choose what fits your lifestyle and budget. And again, I can vouch for that because that's how I got into my land. I said, "This is what I need. Help me out." And that's exactly what happened. So the truth is, owning land is more possible than most people think. And if you've been dreaming about it, she wants you to know you can do this. You really can. It seems scary, but you know what? Every month you gain a little bit more confidence and it becomes much easier. So she'll talk you through every step of the way. She's in it to win it with you because it's mutually beneficial. When you succeed, she succeeds. And here's the thing: if you're a happy customer, you're going to tell your friends, and your friends are going to become happy customers, and then they're going to tell their friends. And so it's in her best interest to always be customer focused versus money focused, which is probably what a lot of investors get wrong. They're more interested in getting their money than they are about their humanity. And that's the thing about Stephanie at Open Air Properties. You don't have to worry about it. So if you got any questions, go ahead and reach out to her at openairproperties.net. You can, she's got properties in Arizona. She's got some near Concho and St. John's. You can call Mickey at 480-928-1933. Colorado, there are mountain views and wide open space, 1.25 acres to 5 acres spots near Alamosa in Colorado. Monthly payments, it's 10 minutes from town, and monthly payments run between 175 and 350. You can call Stephanie at 470-798-1080. Or if you'd like land in Arkansas, lake living in the Ozarks, quarter to a half acre lots near a variety of lakes in Horseshoe Bend. Power and water is available. Monthly payments range between $100 and $200 a month. And you can reach out to Stephanie at 470-798-1080. And I want to say thank you to Stephanie for being the sponsor of this channel. She is a big part of my success. And so I just want to make sure that you guys have some understanding. If you would like me to email you a copy of this, you can do one of two things. Okay. You can go over to her website and sign up for her mailing list, or you can email me, friartuck@hobotuck.com. And remember, if you put in the promo code friartuck upon when you send your contact form to her, she'll give you $50 off of your deposit, and that's $50 you could put towards, getting seeds, getting dirt, getting materials. It's, the startup here, especially when you start blank, some of the materials, especially depending upon the weather, are going to cost a little bit much. So anyways, do I farm or something? Okay. Where is this? Looks very dry land. Oh, I'm in Concho. So what's up, Mick? Land can be improved over time. Yes. Well, the thing is you own it. Okay. Here's the reality of the situation. Let me teach you guys something that will be beneficial to you if you choose to use it. Okay. If you go look on like a city planner map, just go look at it. There's going to be properties in most cities. There's properties that are blacked out. You're going to sit there and wonder, well, why is that blacked out? Does it not sit there? What's going on? What happens is once you turn off utilities, once you turn off everything to it, and especially if you do it for a long period of time because of the survey, what ends up happening is that it no longer is part of the incorporated city that you're in, because the incorporated city gets jurisdiction over your land by you taking in things like water, sewer, power, garbage, anything like internet lines into your property. Because most states, if not all states, have communal property laws, which means if the city or government or if utilities are brought to you, because well, like with water, yeah, you get billed by the city for water, but the city gets billed by another organization for that. And so they're just collecting your share. Okay, so that's why the city gets to control all of this. And so therefore, if you get water and stuff like that, your property becomes communal property, and they can tell you what to do with it. Now, if you are wanting to kind of, keep your freedom and actually own your land without making it communal property, that's where things like solar and gray water systems and compost toilets come in. And those are alternatives because you're able to provide what it is that you need within the compliable ordinances within the county, because they have the green, the eco-friendly, because it's really popular. So a compost toilet means a lot. Okay. And so these things right here, and hey, who knows, it might play into your trust and ESG score, might actually get you a little bit more money because you're being a little bit more environmentally conscious. Who knows, it might benefit you more ways than one to just be independent. Okay, I hope you guys can catch my sarcasm. All right, so this is for you guys. I sit back, I chat and stuff like that because I wait for you guys to be able to say things. I know some of you guys are lurkers, you want to listen in the background, and some of you guys want to participate in chat. And so for my morning broadcast, we're actually moving it from 11 a.m. Eastern time to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, because I took a survey here on YouTube asking, hey, which of these 5-day subjects, because Monday is Constitutional Monday, Tuesday is Privacy Tuesday, Wednesday is Community Building Wednesday, Thursday is Digital Economy Thursday or Digital Homesteading Thursday, and then Friday is Spiritual Friday. And then what I do is I take the broadcast, I turn it into a blog, and then I put the audio. So if you want to go listen to the broadcast, you can just go check out the blog every single day. Or you can sign up for my mailing list. And what I do is a half hour before the broadcast, as I send you an email with a reminder and a link to the broadcast. And that way you can be there, and then you can listen to the previous day's broadcast if you missed it. Okay, but if you want to come be part of the green room, you want to get behind the scenes, every Friday, 1 day a week, I open it up to the general public as long as you have a membership over on Patreon. I have free memberships and I got paid memberships. So whether you have a free or paid membership tonight, when we go live at 5, or excuse me, at 8 Eastern, at 7:30, I'm going to open up the green room. So if you have a free membership over there or a paid membership, I invite you to come join in and have an open discussion with us. And then after we close out the broadcast, we have an after party. That's way, if you guys have any questions, you have the ability to chat, all these other things. So that is where I'm trying to move my voice. I'm over the next 90 days. I'm hoping that it is something that becomes workable and things like that. It is what it is. So Matthew, I'm sorry I missed you the other day. But I'm curious, have you listened to the broadcast side on the front side, like from hobotuck.com/live? Mm. You know what? I think I want to do my last fruit punch. Ah, yes. Damn, I went through these things quick. But I can't drink coffee all day. I don't want to get super okay. So if you listen to the blog in the after ones, like even today's was done like that. So if you missed it, you can just always go back and listen to it. But I always like, I didn't know that there was an echo going on with the I did not know that there was an echo going on with the with everything, because I didn't turn off my laptop speaker. Even though I couldn't hear it, it was echoing in for some reason. So I always wonder, because I go back, I listen to it. It sound like today sounded fine. I didn't have any technical issues. Yesterday there was a lot of technical issues. I think that there was something going on, because YouTube just implemented a new update for content creators on the in the YouTube Studio on your mobile app. See, it used to be, what the way it would happen is you would what's the so like when somebody makes a fresh comment, like, so the first line, like the first comment that somebody makes, I get that in my YouTube Studio, and then I get to make a reply. If other people reply under it, I generally don't get it. And so therefore I don't get to follow up on the string unless I go through a different channel to keep following up on it. Well, YouTube has fixed it, but they did it with a glitch. What they're doing now is every time somebody adds a new comment to that string, it refreshes it and serves it up to you so that you can respond and you can actually get engaged in the conversation string that's going on. But the thing is, I've got 3 years and 1,000 videos in my background that have probably close to 100,000 comments. That in order to clear it out, I've cleared out probably about 200, and I'm about 2 months back. And so I mean, and the thing is you can't just heart and hit the up button. You actually have to respond in order to get it to work, or to get it to clear. That's the weird thing. And so you'll start seeing a bunch of okays, uh-huh, mm-hmm, this is interesting. Every once in a while I might actually say something, but this is a way not only to get more engagement, and I think that this is going to help the content creator out a lot, because right now there's going to be a lot of noise uh coming from what's it called, uh coming from AI videos, because Google just released VO3, I believe, as part of their Gemini suite. So just like you can go over to ChatGPT and pay for a monthly subscription, you can go over to Gemini and pay for a monthly subscription, and it gets you access to all these other tools, such as video creation. And here's an interesting thing. Okay, so before I went out on trail, after I closed my janitorial business because I did my own marketing, I decided to do to get into video production. And I'm actually pretty good at it when I apply myself. As long as I got decent software, I can pretty much do anything. I've learned how to edit myself out of a pickle, because my camera, my camera, or my photography or cinematography sucks. But man, editing, I can edit myself out of a corner. I've done it many times, especially if I've got the software, because I just figure it out. But entry level in something like that, somewhere around, let's say, $30,000 a year. That's maybe getting 3 contracts a month, at a minimum of $1,000 a contract. That's kind of where they run on average. Some are going to be like around 750, 500, but and most will be probably around 1,500 to 2,500. So it'll end up averaging out. Okay. And that is, as somebody who's just starting out in video production and so on and so forth, that's a great career path to go. That was why I was choosing it, because it's like, well, I get to take my sales background and plus my own marketing and kind of turn that into a business. Well, when I started doing that and everything like that, it just, if I could have gotten, like 3 clients a week, I'd have been up to like 150 to $200,000 a month, or excuse me, a year. And so therefore, that is one of those industries where it's still fresh and new. It pays well. It doesn't necessarily require any college degree. It requires skill set and talent. So it's merit based, because it's still coming out to the general public. It hasn't been completely oversaturated. Well, that same job now just got outsourced to something like Gemini for, let's say, $50 a month. What would you rather pay if you're a business? Would you rather just have your marketing firm, because they're already the ones that are working with the video production company, or the content creator, because they're doing sponsored content so that they can do branding? Uh, which is going to be more cost effective for you, $50 a month, and just build your own platform and just saturate the market with all of the content that you want. So therefore it keeps coming up, and therefore you start pushing creators out, because when they were doing the how to's, you were paying them to attach your name to it, but now you just pay $50 a month to Gemini. You see how this slippery slope goes. This is coming after content creators, is coming after a lot of different people. And so, I mean, that's part of the reason why I moved over to hobotuck.com, because right now, if you're going to be following a content creator in the future, because it's all going to be saturated by AI, people are going to be picking up on audio and text again, because it basically just reset the market. Because until you've got chatbots that are going out there and making every single blog article, and saturating the market with that, you basically have to be ahead of these companies, because in their own greed, what they're doing is oversaturating the market, so only they make money and nobody else does. And so being a content creator in the next 3 to 5 years is gonna be very, very, very different. Scott Simpson's already talking about this. I started talking about this before he did, on my own personal level, but, he kinda has been helping guide me along in that. So if any of you are content creators, this is something that you should definitely be aware of, that's happening is that your job, your content, your platform, your voice is about to get so drowned out that you have two options. Either you create your own platform and start owning your audience now, or you pay to play, because the only way that you can get through all of that noise, with the AI saturation. What's up, Eric? Um, Hey, what's up, Eric? Ain't seen you in a while. Glad to see you, buddy. It just you're gonna have to market yourself on their videos. And so therefore they're gonna get ad revenue from you while collecting. So therefore, if you want to be a human content creator and you're not a business selling a product, you're not going to survive what is coming. What's up, Taylor? You still pee in the shower? Mm. Hey, for those of you that are just showing up, hey, my old man and I, we do a broadcast over on hobotuck.com every Friday night. Now, he is going to be late tonight, but I've already discussed in the beginning what we were going to be talking about. If you're not watching the, if you're not watching the, um, yeah, if you're not watching it in replay, but tonight at 8 Eastern, we will be going live on hobotuck.com. If you have a Patreon membership, the green room opens up at 7:30. Okay, that's for free and paid members. It only happens on Fridays, and I do this as kind of a teaser so you guys can decide, is this something I'm willing to pay $5 or $10 a month for. I like watching short videos just too much with AI videos or voiceover videos. Yeah, Dima, I agree with you. I pretty much have stopped watching YouTube. And I've talked to a lot of other people. It's like, if you've been on YouTube for 10 years, you've pretty much evolved out of YouTube. The only reason why you show up to YouTube now is just for your favorite creators, the ones that you know are going to give you good information that are going to benefit you in some way, whether it be entertainment value like Mr. Beast, or whether it be prepper news like Pinball and Popular Preparedness, or whether it be somebody like me who gives you the real, raw, and uncensored, a realistic view of what survival really looks like, because I'm using the experience of being chronically homeless for 25 years as my position of authority, because I learned how to survive. You guys got to follow along with me for the last couple of years until I finally got this property. But yeah, this you're gonna right now, it's gonna be about finding the right content creator that fits what it is that you're looking for. So if you're into prepping, you're gonna follow off to Popular Preparedness. Maybe he's gonna build a website if he's smart. Same thing with Pinball, but they're so they're so adverse to technology that and you know what, quite frankly, I'm not so sure that Popular Preparedness is not using AI. I know that I don't think that what's his name is. Hey, what's up, Blake? What's up, Mitch? Nice to see you. I ain't seen you in a while. Sorry about the late reply to the text. I've been really busy this week. Okay. Um, but I mean, in reality, that's the way of the future. So, come on over to hobotuck.com, bookmark it. That way, when you come on and you want to listen to creators, and because, here's the thing, if you notice, everything's being whitewashed on YouTube. There are very few creators that can get away with it, but that's because they've got a big enough platform that's very hard for YouTube to deplatform them. All they can do is throttle them back and squeeze them out like they have with me. See, my other channel that I tried starting, um, I'm not even getting a single impression on it. I put out something that I did my research on. I knew it was a high interest, a high interest topic, and I put out a video on it. And what ended up happening was, because it's tied to me, my name, my personal trust score is so low that YouTube is squeezing me out, in the sense that it's not going to let me build another channel. It's just not going to put it out to anybody. Now, are they shadow banning me? No. They're just saying, hey, we just don't trust this content. It's too new. And so therefore they use that as a reason to kind of push you out. Because the last 6 months of monetizing my channel, so what good platforms people are using right now? Um, Build your own. I have my website, hobotuck.com. I have, and from there, I use social media as a uh, I use social media as a funnel. Okay, that's the wave of the future. A lot of people do it already, but they're doing it in business sense. But you got to realize that there's no more TV. People aren't watching TV. They're watching or listening on their phones, on their tablets, on their computers, which are on their way out. People are not listening or not watching on TV. Now, you still have the old baby boomers that are going to do it, but those guys are dying in thousands of people a day because their generation peaked in 2008, and then it became a decline after that. And if they live an average of 10 to 15 years, we've already seen the we're already starting to see the waves, and by the time 2030 comes around, most of those boomers will be gone and not on this planet. So you have to realize that your average, you have two demographics that you are going to pander to. You're either gonna pander to the younger generation, 30 and under, or you're gonna pander to the older generation, 30 and over. Okay. I pander to the generation 30 and over because if you're over 30, you at least got to see a little bit of what us 80s babies went through. Okay. Those of us that were the last Gen X and the beginning of the millennials, we still got some sort of reasonable raising. It wasn't until the 90s babies started getting born that things started going south. Okay. So the thing about Gen X, which is the next up and coming generation that is going to be the thought leaders in the future, those are people that are my age and older. So I am the tail end. If you are 41, if you were born in 1983 to 19 to from January 1, 1964 to December 31st, 1983, you were Generation X, and Generation X is known for being fairly well informed, and also known also as the angry generation. But Gen X is probably one of the most informed generations out of all of the generations that are there, and a lot of it has to do with the fact of what the baby boomers did to us, as a whole. But you're gonna have all kinds of I'm one of the first Xers. Yes. Okay. So yeah, but you got, see, the thing is, when you're in that cusp, like you and I are, you still get to take a little bit of the benefit from what the other generation, like. So some of the understanding and the emotional depth comes from being exposed to millennials, because I grew up with them. I mean, unless you're like 41, you're not in my generation. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. Um, but you're gonna have to build your own platform. Do you want to do video? Is video needed? People are getting to the point where they're not going to trust video because it's going to be all done by AI. And if all video is going to be done by AI, you're going to go to the next media that hasn't been oversaturated by artificial intelligence. There's already a podcast that is two AI chatbots talking back and forth to each other. And quite frankly, it was fairly entertaining. Um, it had great pace, great cadence. It was interesting. I'll put it to you that way. Mm. And just until they start saturating that market, then you got to go to written. But the thing is, if you have your own platform and you get in ahead of the game, you're going to have a leg up. Those that joined YouTube between 2010 and 2015 are doing better financially, and algorithmically than you and I are, because they already were able to build their platform. They were already able to get their audience, because right now, this is part of the reason why some of these big creators are leaving, is because YouTube is stealing their audience, because it's now taking your audience and giving it to someone else, because they don't have to pay that other person as much as they have to pay you. And so, from what I understand, RPM is also determined by the amount of views that you get, not just the topic and the advertisers, but how many views your video gets. So if you're getting 5,000 views, you would go from let's say $3.50 RPM up to $5 or $6 in RPM, just by getting those more views, because therefore you become more popular, so on and so forth. You're guaranteed to get in front of the right audience, so on and so forth. Okay. This is this is just the wave of the future. It's the way it's going to work, and there's really nothing you can do about it except for figure out your own way that works for you. I believe 81 to 83 people are called exennials. No, actually, because of when I was born, my sub generation is actually Carter baby. Um, because because of all the babies that were born, because of what Carter did with the whole hyperinflation and shit. Yeah, that's just something. But yeah, for instance, Tyler Perry put an $880 million expansion of his Atlanta production studio on hold indefinitely due to concerns about the rapid advancements in AI technology. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Um, that, but you know what? Yeah, with VO3, the way that it can create B-roll for you, you can do video to text. I mean, I was doing it. CapCut allows you to do it. It's just it's too buggy. The thing is companies are running headfirst into this, and they're running headfirst into it because they're not thinking about the consequences and the pushback and the blowback that's going to happen from this. What they're actually doing. Shit. Hold on, I gotta go close my door real quick. There we go. Life before the internet was better. You had more community. That's really what it is. You had more community. Communities were tighter, they were closer. Information, people made sure that they gave you factual information because their reputation depended on it. If you couldn't be trusted with information, nobody would listen to you. But now all of a sudden you can have a global reach. Your integrity doesn't really mean much, and now you get to control the narrative. um you know I, yeah, I mean, I remember the tail end of the communities, because like by the time the mid 90s came around, communities stopped being communities and it just became these prefabricated houses that were just popping up everywhere. It was like it was like the mid 90s. If you really want to know when America was stopped being America, I would say that's about then, because that's when community was fully destroyed. That's why you have people now that are talking about community and how important community really is. Okay. I think that's why I talk about community building. That's what Wednesday's all about. How are we building communities? And I getting to know the members of my community, my immediate community that lives here with me. Miss James Change, I missed it too. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. We can sit there and we can reminisce about the past all we want. Hey, man, the '80s was my favorite part of my life. Like I whenever I think about when America was great, I remember the '80s. I remember what it was like going through the industrial part of Portland. I remember what it was like going through those places. It was like, wow, we actually had manufacturing. We actually, it was a whole different feeling compared to what it is now. Now it's all about technology. I mean, the I think that the industrial revolution, the dirty industrial revolution, ended in the 90s. I think that that's really what happened, and we became a technological industrial revolution. Here's something interesting. Um, how many of you, type one if you remember this, how many of you remember um How many of you remember back in 2018 when ChatGPT first released to the public and people started using it to write articles? How many people remember that? You remember the blowback and the pushback from that? Type 1 if you remember that. Type 2 if you don't. Okay. And if you don't, you're just going to have to go look this one up on your own. I can't really guide you down it too much. Okay. But there was a lot of pushback. Now, if you go search AI plus homelessness, there's a writer, and he got a lot of views, and I think he got monetized off of that one video. Like, he's only put out 5 videos, but that one video where he was ranting and laying out how AI was taking your jobs and it had made him homeless because he was a writer. They already took all of his stuff because he worked for the company. Every article he wrote belonged to the company, so therefore the company used that to train their AI bot, and so therefore he put himself out of a job. That's the reality of it. And because he put himself out of the job, because now AI can do it, now it has parameters. Um, oh yeah, people. I mean, I hear teachers, because I've got to know a couple of them. I hear teachers talk about how they hate kids using it in school, and it's like you better roll with it, because if you don't, you know, you're going to be out of a job, because the higher ups have already made the decision. They're taking it. They're going to do it, and it's slowly happening until it finally starts getting rapid. I've been telling you guys for a good couple of months now, especially when I started getting in the whole AI thing, because I wanted to understand it. I wanted to understand, like, because it's a new tool, I can make money off of it, so on and so forth. I wanted to know these things. And so as I got into it, I got to see the fluff, it's going to lead us to this new utopia. And, I kind of bought into it because I saw the benefit of it. And, I was hearing stories about what it was doing. But then I went and I said, it's about time that I actually, put this through the ringer and let me see if this thing can really handle a real workload. It can't. It cannot. It cannot write an article or a script over 2,000 words. Okay. Anything over about 1,800 words, it will glitch out, and then you'll have to start over from scratch. I will tell you, I'm pissed off. Another thing, so many people say, go write me an article on this, and they're not actually using it properly. It's an assistant. You pay the assistant $20 a month to do what you want it to do. It does not make your decisions for you, because this is your organization. It does not belong to that AI. That AI has no vested interest. But yet, so many people basically sell out to artificial intelligence and let it run everything for them. I let it write code for me. And one of the other things I do is I say, okay, this is the topic that I want to talk about. Ask me questions one by one so that we can put my words into this script, um, because the thing is I want it to be me. I don't want it to be something that AI says, and I have to go through, and I probably do about 4 or 5 different revisions. And by the end of it, my brain um, is my brain is about ready to explode, because I'm just that upset with it. And I've realized that there are so many bugs, it will just keep going around and chasing its own tail in circles. Even when you put guardrails and parameters and you start, customizing it and stuff like that. If you're a power user, if you want to use this for anything realistic, ain't going to work. You're still going to have to hire a programmer. Okay. But instead of paying a crew of people, let's say instead of paying, 10 people at $50,000 a year to do white collar work, you can now pay one person $50,000, and now you just saved $450,000. But now you've got custom code, custom everything. That's the difference between the commercial and the corporate version. Um, Yes, it does. Yes, it does have limitations built into it. I learned that when I was complaining to it. It gives points per word. Yeah, it's called tokens, emoji, etc., and then it distributes the points across the query. It's being asked. The longer the answer, the more brevity it has. And here's the other thing: is it's also using a predictive algorithm. So it's predicting what you want to hear, and it's hoping that you accept what it gives you, because this is what burned my britches when I first started with it. Was I was like, okay, well, these projections, if you're giving this to me, this is probably got to be authentic, because you're basically a Google search plus a SQL server on steroids. And so therefore I should be able to get accurate data because it's supposed to be looking at data, compiling and comparing data so that it can provide you with real results based upon statistics. No, it doesn't. It just pulls it out of fucking thin air. Um, it will be so optimistic that you'll be like, in 12 months, I'll be making $25,000 a month. You're gotta be fucking nuts. How do I do this? Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And you can only do up to 100 chats with it in a string before you break it. So so when you start getting like, into a deep conversation about halfway through, you should tell it to open up a new chat with it and pull all of the information from this chat over there. And what it'll do is it'll just do a short entry so that it can carry it over. You'll just open up a new chat saying start the new chat. And then it'll bring it in there and then you continue the conversation with it. Because if you take it and you try and do one long string, you just try and keep it all in one chat, don't do it. 100 is the limitation. Uh, we can talk about all the bugs. Okay, we can talk about all the bugs, but these companies don't care. They care about bottom line, shareholders, and maintaining their job as CEO so they can get these huge bonuses. They don't give a shit as long as it works long enough to where they can fix it and put something real in. And so as people get frustrated with the chat bots, because I go over to SiteGround's chat bots pretty simple, pretty easy, but I haven't asked it anything pretty complex. I've gone to ChatGPT's chat bot to do tech support because it's all automated. Oh my God. You want to talk about a pain in the butt? You know, you have to go, yeah. That's just the way it is. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but we're going to dive into this deeper tonight because I really want to draw the dots for you. And when my old man does show up, you guys are going to love his take on it. Because we kind of started talking about it because I had to explain to him, like, I had to pull him off platform to make money because if I left him on YouTube, he was going to cost me everything. And he's like, well, I don't want to be censored. It's like, well, you want to be on my channel. That's kind of the way it works. And he thinks that, and I told him that he would be uncensored over here on my website, but there is, that's a 3/4 truth. Because in the user agreement, when you purchase the website, they can take your website down for anything. So if they don't like something that you're saying and they get political backlash, doesn't matter what the data privacy rights are, they have the ability to deplatform you even on your own website because you own nothing and you're happy about it. Okay, that's really the way it is. You own nothing and you're very happy with it. You don't own your house, you're happy with it. You don't own your car, you're happy with it. You don't own your computer, you're happy with it. You don't own the software, but you're happy with it. You see where this is all going? I mean, you pay a monthly subscription and you're happy with it. Okay? Because that is the wave of the future. You will own nothing and you will be happy because you pay a subscription fee and it's much easier to manage. Okay? Versus going and spending large amounts of money on all of this other stuff. Okay? But you're happy with it. You've been happy with it until it no longer benefits you, and then you're going to be unhappy with it. Okay? And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So I'm going to give a 2-minute warning. If anybody has any questions you want to ask, anything else like that, please let me know. I will definitely, I definitely want to respond to your comments. Friday, next week, this time slot is going to change. It's probably going to move to the 8 o'clock in the morning, because next week my morning broadcast is now moving to an evening broadcast. So at 5 Eastern, the green room opens at 5:30 Eastern. The live broadcast begins, and then once the live broadcast ends, then the green room will continue over to becoming the after party. So if you welcome to the new China. Yeah, the difference between us and China's at least being upfront about what they're doing. We're not. Yeah, but anyways, come on over, check it out. Thank you for being here, guys. Yeah, China is China. Okay. But anyways, I hope to see you over on hobotuck.com. Hey, and if you want a reminder of if you just want to be able to get an email and keep up to date and, pick and choose whatever articles, you can sign up for a weekly digest email where I send you all the articles, and then you can decide which ones you like, which ones you don't. Watch those ones, don't watch the other ones. And so that's on you. If that's something that you would like to do, would be much appreciated if you would sign up for the email list. That way I can start sending out reminders. It's already built into our system and has already been for quite some time. There was a video I watched about the singularity. Basically, they want things so abundant so that everything is free. That's the thought of it. Yes, Peter Diamandis says the same thing. DFH. Peter Diamandis does say the same thing. That is what these guys are preaching to us. But here's the thing. Yeah, there might be some organizations and some people that are doing it, but it's all about money, power, and control. And so if you control, if it's no longer about money, it's about controlling the software and controlling the narrative and controlling the people. And so therefore, it doesn't. You can the abundance would be nice, but the strings that come attached with it, are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to pay that price? Okay, that's the real question. All right, guys, I will see you tonight at 7:30 Eastern if you're in the green room. The link is in Patreon, or I will see you at 8 o'clock on hobotuck.com/live for if you want to watch and listen to the live broadcast. Thanks for being here, guys. I will see you on Tuesday. Oh, yeah.